Welcome once again to the edge of your seat. Sorry for another gap. This time we'll be looking back to the last weekend in April, looking at this first weekend in May, and looking forward to the next one as well. Enjoy. "10 years, 18 films, 10 TV shows, 1 cinematic universe. It's all been leading to this, but was it actually worth the wait? Bringing together as many disparate elements of the now sprawling franchise as possible. Sorry, Ant-Man and Wasp, you'll get your turn in a few months. As for Hawkeye, well, I don't know that I'd want to leave that farm either." Infinity War wisely makes its central conceit quite simple. It's a MacGuffin fetch quest. Longtime fans will be rewarded for attention to precious detail, but it's straightforward enough not to alienate the casual viewer. With so many heroes to jostle, the film gives main character duties to the big bad, Thanos. Remember him? Smiling guy from Avengers, chair guy from Guardians, I'll do it myself guy from Ultron, who is tracking down the 6 ultra-powerful Infinity Stones. If all 6 are combined in the Infinity Gauntlet, the Mad Titan will have the power of a god. And since he already has the unflinching will to wipe out half the universe, that's a scary prospect. And ultimately, this is what makes Infinity War worth its own build-up. Thanos is a truly excellent villain, compelling and terrifying. He's a force of nature, convinced in the righteousness of his own world-weary task. He doesn't bear any particular malice, but shoulders his responsibility like the grimdark navel-gazing hero of his own tale. Unfortunately, this fleshing out of Thanos does mean that some characters can feel underwritten, most notably his own Black Order, who come across as little more than interchangeable minions for the most part. There's also some understandable disparity in the character arcs of the main heroes. Fans of some characters will rejoice, while others may feel slightly shortchanged. Still, the point of these big crossovers has always been to see how our favourites interact in different pairings and strange situations, and Infinity War delivers these moments in spades. In this sense, it feels like more of the true sequel to Avengers Assemble. Yes, we had to call it that silly name in the UK, but with higher stakes and a more foreboding tone overall. And that, apart from Thanos himself, is what will likely shock long-term fans. As filled as it can be with the usual witty banter and visually exciting set pieces, it's fundamentally a downer. This is totally to the film's credit, by the way, but anyone going in expecting the limited body count of the earlier, and also excellent, Civil War is in for a rude awakening. Mary and the Witch's Flower is the first film from new Japanese animation company Studio Ponok. If the art style looks familiar though, that's because its founder and most of its animators came over from anime giant Studio Ghibli back in 2015, when it looked as though that company was winding down. So whilst it's only fair to judge a film on its own merit, Mary does come with more history and pedigree than most debuts. Adapted from the Mary Stewart children's novel The Little Broomstick, director Hiromasa Yonebayashi clearly has an appreciation for quaint English fantasy, as his previous efforts were Arrietty and When Marnie Was There. We follow restless but eager child Mary as she discovers a rare flower with the power to bestow magical abilities. Helping Mary become a witch for the night, the fly-by-night flower is both inciting incident and MacGuffin, as it turns out it is highly sought after by true witches and wizards from their hidden school, A Castle in the Sky. There are obvious comparisons to be made to Harry Potter here, especially as tensions are explored between those with natural magical ability and those who gain it by chance. But to me, it actually seemed closer in tone to the Worst Witch books, which have a similar lightness of touch. Of course, it goes without saying that it all looks gorgeous, but I was particularly impressed by the fluidity of the animated magic. It felt so natural, distinct from human mechanics. Though for fans of steampunk, there's a good chunk of that too. Of course, it's not without flaws, with these mainly coming in the logic of the storytelling and the changing pace, but it still comes highly recommended. Good as an offshoot of Ghibli, great as its own first film. It's shit. End of review. What? You expect me to put effort into this? Why should I? The film clearly didn't. Sorry, I get it. It's not bad because it's bad. It's ironically bad. Get it? Because the best way to satirize schlocky movies is to copy them to the nth detail and then just put LOL in brackets afterwards. The plot can be summed up easily enough. family of cardboard cutouts slaughtered in Holiday Home.
Yes, that's right, Strangers fans. You waited a whole decade for Prey at Night to just be a copy-paste redo.
But so what if all the characters' collective personalities can be written on a napkin? We're here for the villains, right? The monsters! It's not about the Nazis, it's about the Freddys. So, what new details did we learn about the faceless killers this time round? What terrifying void did we stare into in an attempt to understand their sociopathic souls? We learned nothing. Nothing. Everyone is hollow. Every action is meaningless. Maybe that's meant as arch nihilism, but it comes across more like lazy cynicism. Every moment of the film feels like a calculated tally of bad B-movie tropes, and knowing that the film knows this doesn't make it edgy or meta or anything that it thinks it is, it just makes it obnoxious.
Like I said, it's shit. Next time I'm not wasting words.
Some comedies are universal and timeless. Others are very much of the moment and aimed at a specific audience. The new Amy Schumer vehicle, I Feel Pretty, feels like it's gunning for that second camp, a female-forward celebration of beauty and self-confidence. Now, whilst I'm not exactly brimming with self-esteem myself, I'm decidedly not a woman, and therefore outside that target market. Anyway, down to the synopsis. Renee is our relatable everywoman, well-liked by friends but left out by the beautiful people, aspiring towards a promotion but lacking the conviction to pursue it. This career step,
to receptionist of a major makeup and beauty company,
is her outward goal, but she's convinced,
not unreasonably given the film's other characters,
that the only way to get it is by being, as she says, undeniably beautiful. Inspired by the film Big, she wishes for a miracle, and she gets it. But only in her own mind. She suddenly sees her ideal self in the mirror, despite no real physical change. And this new self-image and inner confidence leads to positive changes in her life.
So, there we go. Modern feminist masterpiece, right? Well,
whilst its heart seems in the right place, the execution leaves a lot to be desired. It can be affecting and powerful to capture radical message in a familiar format, but this is a standard rom-com delivering a moral we've all heard before. For a film about inner beauty, the ideas feel very much skin deep. Renee may teach a worthwhile lesson at the end, but as that lesson is ultimately taught through the medium of a makeup brand pitch, it feels no more heartfelt than any number of so-called body-positive adverts. Still, Amy Schumer is eminently watchable, and the humour is decent, if not groundbreaking. And again, look, if you want a more truthful analysis of this, you're best off not asking a beardy nerd boy on the internet, but an actual woman. Back in 2011, Disney,
no, seriously, it was Disney, look it up,
put out the puntastically named Romeo and Juliet, a juvenile play on the Shakespearean classic. Set primarily in the back gardens of Stratford-upon-Avon, it told of the love story between the two titular characters from two families of feuding garden gnomes, and I hated it. It was a complete mess tonally, structurally, and comedically, with the target market seemingly split between adults who hate the original play and children too small to comprehend anything beyond the pretty colours. And now, despite Disney disowning it,
it's Paramount's problem now.
We have a sequel. Again, it's a punning cartoon play on a classic of English literature, filled with overqualified actors and a self-promoting Elton John soundtrack.
Mr. John acts as a producer.
The difference here is that whilst the original could at least say it was hanging its silliness on the framework of a classic story, the only thing this has to hang on is its name recognition. The plot is just a generic kidnap mystery based on a vague idea of Holmes, rather than a specific parody of any of the famous stories. This alone would leave it feeling adrift, but shoehorning in the Shakespearean characters robs it of any coherent sense of direction or purpose. It doesn't even manage to be as risible as its predecessor, which was at least interesting for all its baffling faults. This one just feels bland. That being said, there are some moments that will turn the stomachs of Conan Doyle purists.
Irene. Seriously.
And the villain is truly annoying, like an emoji doing a bad Ricky Gervais impression. Unfortunately, many parents are likely to be dragged to this against their will. For anyone else, avoid it.
Join us next time when we should be catching up with all the films we missed reviewing for you. Catch you then. Bye!